Do your work, not just your work and no more, but a little more for the lavishing sake. That little more which is worth all the rest. And if you doubt as you must, and if you suffer as you must, do your work. Put your heart into it and the sky will be clear. And then out of your very doubt and suffering will be born the supreme joy of life. And that's a quote by Dean Briggs that Bob Proctor has shared numerous times, and I wanted to share it with you. We're going to honor Bob Proctor today, so stick with us for today's episode.
The following was recorded in front of a live studio audience at the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe. This is the United Podcast Network.
Welcome to Rat Race Reboot. I'm your host, Laura Noel. And as a certified coach and former 27-year military leader, each week I provide bite-sized mindset pivots that will help you reset your mind, reawaken your spirit, and regain your control.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. Today, I just want to honor a mentor and a coach to me and a phenomenal human being who left an incredible legacy, and that is Bob Proctor. I have had the privilege and honor to know him, to have personally worked with him, and to have learned from him, and I'm so incredibly grateful. And after Bob Proctor passed away last week, people were sharing one of his favorite quotes. That's what I opened with, that do your work. So Bob would rather a celebration of his life more than anything else. And although, of course, I feel sadness for his loss in his physical presence, I know that his energy is here all around me and I can tap into him anytime I want. But I wanted to read this press release because I think it's so beautiful. And this is from the Proctor Gallagher Institute. So it says, when W.H. Auden penned the line, "Stop the clocks," he knew that this moment in time would come for us at the Proctor Gallagher Institute. On February 3rd, 2022, our founder, Bob Proctor, transitioned from this life of natural causes. There are only a few moments in time when the whole world stops to mourn the loss of a single soul. Literally millions of people have been touched by his personal development legend, who began his journey in 1961 after being handed the book, Think and Grow Rich. From that beginning, Bob Proctor shifted his own world on its axis. Then he decided it was time to help the bigger world of people do the same. In 1961, fueled by reading Napoleon Hill's masterful book, Bob opened a cleaning company, starting with a single office in his hometown of Toronto. A few years later, he sold that company because he felt called to begin teaching the accelerated success formula he had implemented for himself. And by 2021, 60 years later, Bob Proctor's rich teachings had found their way into every single country around the world. Further, his personal mentoring within the ranks of his own company ensures that for many years into the future, the Proctor Gallagher Institute will continue the legacy that Bob established. Renowned for his trademark sentence, "Tell me what you want and I'll show you how to get it," Bob helped millions of people recognize their spiritual perfection and take back the reins of their inherent power to begin believing, acting in faith, and creating lives of their greatest desires. The best-selling author of numerous titles, including his first book, You Were Born Rich, Bob Proctor was a prominent teacher in The Secret in 2006 and has been featured in many additional films, books, documentaries, and talk shows. His YouTube channel offers hundreds of his videos of warm advice and instruction, reaching more than 1.4 million subscribers around the world. Bob Proctor was tireless and driven. His only mission in life to reach one individual after another, assuring each and every one that not only could they achieve their greatness, but that greatness already lived in them. That's an incredible mission, and it's a legacy that I intend to keep moving forward. And all of us at the Proctor Gallagher Institute, it's my honor to do that. I was just watching another video by Bob, and of course, I was mourning the loss, and it brought me great comfort. So I want to share some of his words of wisdom with you, and I hope that it comforts you if you're dealing with loss, whether it's Bob's loss, or another family member or somebody that you love. And I believe this wholeheartedly. He said this all the time. There's no such thing as death. If you study science, nothing is created or destroyed. We're moving into one form or another. So death in and of itself is simply a transition. Birth is a transition. Nothing is created or destroyed. Our soul moves out of the body, and Bob says, my soul moved into this body and it will move out. And so there's no such thing as birth or death. They're just transitions. So if you've lost somebody, realize that they're just moving on to the next phase of their life. And you can connect with their energy and presence anytime you want to. Anytime you want to. We're all connected. Everything is energy, and our thoughts are energy. And so we can tap into that energy whenever we want, through our memories, through asking for support and guidance. And I know, even though Bob isn't here in his physical body, his teachings live on. I can tap into his wisdom at any time. So I hope that provides you with comfort if you are struggling with grieving the loss of somebody. Yes, it's natural to feel that grieving process. Feel it fully and completely. But then move on. As Bob said, do your work. What is your purpose? And I think this is a good time for all of us to start thinking of our legacy. What is that going to be for you moving forward? If I can live my life the way that Bob led his, which was standing in his purpose, living his legacy, sharing his gifts with the world, he did that. He was like, there's nothing I would rather do. I'm living my life exactly the way I want to. There was nothing else that I would rather do than what I'm doing right here, right now, and that's teaching this to all of you. And he did that until the very end. And some of us were joking, saying, I bet he's in heaven right now, and he's already got his website up and his PowerPoint slides rolling. He's still teaching, and he's teaching through me, and he's teaching through all of us who have learned his work, his body of work. And there's also one thing that Bob said, is this isn't my work. He's like, I'm just a very good student. I've taken these principles and these ideas that have been passed down from many thought leaders and generation after generation of thought leaders. And he's packaged it in a way that is really, it helps people access the greatness that's already inside of them. It's in such a simple way that it's easy to align with, connect with, and then implement. So I hope you'll continue your study. I hope that you continue your path toward growth and consider, what is your legacy? So we're going to take a few minutes right now, and just as we close every Rat Race Reboot episode, we're going to play some background music and get you tapped into what might that legacy be for you, so you can do your work. So take a deep inhale through your nose and exhale. Take another deep inhale through your nose, exhaling fully and completely. Take one last inhale, breathing into any areas of tension in the body, and then releasing all of that tension, any worries or doubt. Let it go. And so legacy can seem like a pretty big idea. But what that is really, what impact do you want to have in your life, in your world? What kind of ripple effect do you want to create in your family, in your work, in your community, in the world? Think about that for a moment. If you could have anything you want, if you could do anything you want, and there were no obstacles, none, what would that be? In the words of Bob Proctor, tell me what you want, and I'll show you how to get it. It starts with deciding. It starts with dreaming, giving yourself permission. It starts right here, right now. You can have anything you want. Think about when you're gone, what would you like people to remember about you? Your legacy could be that you're even uplifting people wherever you are. You always lent a smile to every person you've met. It could be helping lives all around the world. Whatever that is, think about, how would you like to be remembered? Welcome back, everybody. I realize that's a big question. And so this is the work that we do, and this is part of Bob's legacy. And this is how I help people, is get them aligned with what it is they truly desire, and it starts with dreaming. What do you want your legacy to be? And if you want some support in that, go to ratracereboot.com, connect with us, subscribe, email me, and I would love to have a conversation with you. Continue doing your work. Get connected with your vision each and every day, and you'll be astounded with how far you'll go. Join me in the coming weeks where I share some of the wisdom that Bob shared with me directly. I'm going to get really vulnerable and share some of the things that he told me that were relevant back in the day when I met him in 2016, and they're still relevant now. And I think those things will help you to advance your dreams and your deepest desires. So until next week, remember, everything's created twice. First in your imagination and your mind, and then in physical form. We'll see you next week.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.